Hi everybody, my name is Antonio here at IDX Broker. I'm the Partner Channel Manager, and today we're going to be talking about SEO and IDX Broker. So first off, we can get into what is SEO for anyone who doesn't know. This is search engine optimization. Now this isn't really like a guarantee you'll get to the top of the Google search results. It just means your site is optimized for the visitors it receives. This would be humans like you and I, and robots, the robots that Google, Bing, all search engines have that crawl your site. We're going to be looking at the options that IDX Broker provides for these and things you can do there. This is going to be a general SEO and IDX and how general SEO webinar and how it relates to IDX Broker. We won't be getting into any advanced strategies or anything too technical. So let's go ahead and get going. So sites have two types of visitors. We have robots and humans. These are very different kinds of visitors, and they see things very differently. They both visit your website quite often, so the search engine optimization should be optimized for both visitors. Your site should be ready to accept both and provide the content that each one is looking for. Humans like pretty sites, good navigation, and really good content that's relative to their search. Sometimes you can add other things like fancy drop downs, other stuff that helps a human engage with your website and find the content that they came looking for in the first place. Robots are a little different. Bots are looking for text while they crawl your site. They're looking to index your site and find out what kind of information exists on your site, so then they can report that back to their search engine and serve it up when people search the engine. So the real purpose of SEO is to find that balance between the two kinds of visitors, the human and the robot. Now, since they're so very different, let's take a quick look at an example that illustrates the two types of views we're going to have. So here's a cute puppy image, and this is what humans see. You and I all see this puppy about to give a high five. This is great content for humans. Humans love puppies and high fives. Robots, on the other hand, they're not going to be as enamored with the puppy as you or I. So let's take a look at it from a robot's point of view. This is really all the robot sees. When a robot visits that site, visits this page, and looks at this image, all it can really see is that there is an image here. It's probably of a puppy because the alt tag says OMG puppy high five. If you were looking for a puppy high five in this way, the search engine might serve it up. But without this alt tag, the bot visiting has really no idea of what's in the image and can't appreciate this cute puppy. This kind of same thing applies to framed content, whereas this is a YouTube video that I did. The YouTube video is I can interact with it as a human. I can play it. I can share it. It has a title that I can easily read, but this is all framed in, and this is how YouTube distributes its content across pages. They just give you an iframe link. This iframe link is all a robot's going to see. It has no idea that this is a YouTube video about WordPress. All it knows is what it sees in the URL, which is this is a video from youtube.com. So while iframes do have their place for content like videos from YouTube, they really aren't good for anything you could have indexed. So if there's text in here that is indexable and you want people searching for, an iframe really is going to get skipped over by bots, which is why IDX Broker doesn't frame in our content. We really don't encourage framing in of our content because we want it to be indexable and found. So another issue is going to be where you're looking from. Here we have two searches performed from different locations. You can see the location here is, on the first search is Eugene. The second one is New York City. I did these two searches with the exact same search criteria to illustrate that Google knows where you are, or at least approximately. The same component doesn't necessarily return the same results from one location to another. You can see here I searched the phrase Mr. Appliance, and it served up the local Mr. Appliance, which is an independently owned store here. From New York, on the other hand, since that independently owned store does not exist in New York State, it returns the national brand Mr. Appliance. Same name, completely different businesses. Google can see where I'm at in Eugene or in New York and try and serve up the best content for what I'm looking for that's relative to me. In this way, your SEO strategies should reflect some degree of customization, taking into account where you are and the kind of content you're trying to get served up by Google or any other search engine. Which brings us to really the relevant content. The relevant content is going to be what search engines are aiming for when they search your site and index it. With IDX Broker, custom wrappers and subheaders can provide more unique content for details pages, search link, save search links, things of that nature, because we have content that's created on your site and other sites, which would be a listing. Some of the content will be the same. You can combat that by creating custom content for these pages, community pages, any niche pages, anything that you can put in more text to feed Google is great. The old phrase "content is king" still applies. Google and everyone else is getting better and better at filtering out content that is less relevant to the searcher. Another great addition is a blog. Blogs provide lots of indexable pages, and then you can create that and craft that content to the audience you're trying to attract to make that very relevant to them. All right. Subdomains. So I get a lot of questions here about subdomains, custom subdomains. Are they indexable? How does Google feel about them? IDX Broker, we encourage you to create custom subdomains. These are set at your registrar. This is the place where you bought your domain name. What this really is a CNAME record, a DNS record, and points at our subdomains.idxbroker.com subdomain. This allows your CNAME record pointed at our subdomains to index our pages with your main domain, your root domain. Because all a subdomain really is a location where files live. These files do not have to be on your hosting. You simply need to tell the bots where the files actually live. Subdomains are treated by Google as part of your root domain. So all of this gets indexed together, whether it's on a subdomain or not, and bots really don't care about where the hosting is. That's more of a human construct. Let's take a look at an example of subdomains using the biggest website in the world, Google. So we search site:google.com to see a list of all index pages for google.com. We can see there is quite a few, probably actually more than this, but it only did run for 0.13 seconds. Google Hangouts is here, which is a subfolder. The second result is a subdomain. The third result is also a subdomain. And we'll see more subdomains further on down. Here's SketchUp. Google uses subdomains a lot for scaling. Obviously, they do a lot of traffic, so they have lots of different servers. Without the use of subdomains, these would all be on one server, the load would be huge, and if anything went down, everything would go down. So that's a great reason for Google to use subdomains. But as you can see, they're indexed just as well as a subfolder, and Google is indexing itself very well here with its subdomains of news, AdWords, SketchUp, and so on. So subdomains are indexed by Google and attributed to the root domain. Again, this is all set up with what's called a CNAME. That lets you. The CNAME is a kind of subdomain that lets you choose a human-friendly name for your robot-friendly setting. Hence the name custom. This subdomain is also customizable in that you can use whatever word you want to prepend here. For example, search mydomain.com or homes, or even www.mydomain.com. With that one, I would recommend you make sure your registrar didn't already set a www.subdomain. You don't want conflicting CNAME records or ANAME records on the registrar. This will confuse the DNS settings. This is all something your registrar can help you with. We have great knowledge base articles on how to set all that up. Whatever you decide to set up, again, all of it will be indexed as part of your root domain, just like we saw in the Google example. Since we're on the topic of URL strings with subdomains, let's look at the other end of the URL string. URL strings are just letters and numbers that are in the address of a web page. These addresses can be very descriptive, letting humans and robots know exactly what kind of content to expect on this page. IDX Broker offers dynamic details page URLs, so your listings pages can have details within the URL string. For example, we see in this example, city name and address. When I hit one of these details pages, it will place the city name and the address of the listing in the URL string. This is great for Google to crawl. This is great for everyone to crawl. This is also great for humans. When I see this URL string, I instantly know I'm in the right city and I'm looking at the correct property. The dynamic nature of these also extends to the title text, so your title tag on the page. Also your meta tags, your description on the meta tag keyword also can be set dynamically here in IDX Broker. To create further unique content and indexable, very indexable content and lead visitors to relevant content, IDX Broker also has saved links. These are saved search results in the IDX Broker system. These are very useful for guiding visitors to types of properties, and much more so are indexable. So I can come across these organically. These also have, like I was saying earlier, the subheader options of adding unique content that perhaps describe your saved link. For example, a neighborhood or type of community. This will vary depending on the kind of saved link you create and the type of data that's provided by the MLS. These also have the ability to customize the URL string. This area here can be anything you want, something that describes the name of the neighborhood, for example, also in the page title. We do have meta tags on these, an meta tag option on these as well for description and keywords. We also have a custom link showcase, which is just a page of all custom links. This is really meant for robot consumption, as it's just a page of all the links you have created in the IDX Broker dashboard. Sitemaps, XML sitemaps. Sitemaps have been offered by IDX Broker for a while. We've always offered an HTML sitemap, but now we're offering XML sitemaps for accounts with developer partners. Sitemap content is really meant for robots only. It's just text, simply a list of pages on your site. This helps guide the crawlers to the pages that exist in your site. This can be great for a website that's just starting out and has not yet been crawled, to provide a guide for when a crawler does hit your site and searches for a sitemap. We have both kinds, HTML sitemaps, and for those with developer partners, XML sitemaps. You can see by the sitemap markup, it's simply links to either deeper sitemaps, so each one of these links would lead to another sitemap that shows even more links. So when Google spiders out through this, it will end up indexing all the pages within the sitemap, and these are set to show all the details pages that are now being indexed and can be indexed with your root domain via that CNAME record I had mentioned earlier. .404 HTTP response codes are something we've all reached them before browsing on the internet. This is when a page is not found. These 404s are a normal part of the web. These happens a lot with property pages as properties are sold and then leave the IDX system. They should leave as they're no longer relevant. They're not active listings. But the content itself didn't really move. It simply left the system. So a 301 redirect is not the best way to tell Google this page exists. 404s get kind of a bad rap because they say the word error, when really this isn't an error. This is an accurate depiction of what happened to this page. This page was up, it served its purpose, and no longer exists. So 404 tells Google not to include this page in search results anymore because it's no longer relevant. As for the ranking, if you visit Google Webmasters, their site, Google elaborates on this, saying generally 404s don't impact your site's ranking in Google, and you can safely ignore them. Like I said, they're a normal part of the web. I know a lot of times when we reach a 404 error or we get a 404 error report in Google Webmaster's tools, we tend to think that this is going to impact us negatively, but as Google says in their article, this simply isn't the case. These 404s are to be expected and are serving a purpose there to tell Google what the relevant content is. So those are the general SEO values you get with IDX Broker, things you can use to improve your site searchability in Google. Remember, every site's different, and SEO strategies differ wildly from one region to another, different markets to another. So your SEO strategy should really be customized. There's no one strategy that is best practice amongst every single website. Take all these things into consideration, and if you have any other further questions, feel free to shoot us an email or visit us at idxbroker.com, give us a call. All the features I mentioned in this webinar are available both on IDX Broker Platinum and IDX Broker Lite. This webinar has been recorded and will be available on YouTube as well.